Night sorcery spells are insanely strong. When I first made this build, I really didn't believe the numbers that were showing up on my screen, but I was consistently one-hitting people in PvP, and these spells have some special properties that make PvE, especially New Game Plus runs, an absolute breeze. So if you want to be one-shotting people in PvP and making easy mode out of the New Game Plus cycle, this is the build for you.
Perform for me a service. Eliminate the baleful shadows which prowl these lands.
The Shadowmage is a stealthy assassin that uses night sorceries to burst enemies and stay hidden. These spells have been underrated for a really long time, and this build is all about squeezing as much damage as we can out of them. The night sorceries have basically just been receiving steady buffs patch after patch. In patch 1.07, they have had their FP cost reduced, which is just awesome. They're already dealing tons of damage, so why not cost less?
I'm not getting one shot, dude. 94. Well, that's with the bubble. I'm not getting one shot. I refuse. I refuse to get. Don't hit me with that. Oh my god. Bro, he almost killed his teammate. What? How is that even possible? Bro, hold on. Wait.
Not only is it strong in PvP, but the PvE is incredibly strong as well. These night sorceries have this quality that essentially don't force dodge rolls out of NPCs. I'm showing you this little clip here of me fighting Nereus. Normally in this fight, if you were to use regular sorceries, he just perfectly dodges all of your projectiles. And there are quite a lot of enemies in this game that are designed that way to perfectly dodge lots of projectiles. This also applies to bosses, which is why I was really easily able to do a no-hit run of Milena using this build. This works on every boss in the game, and I think you'll be really surprised once you start shooting these at different bosses. How they react is very strange. This combined with Hidden Body, which we're going to talk about later, makes for some really amazing interaction. The night sorceries don't trigger that dodge animation, and they also don't alert other nearby enemies as well, so it's actually really easy to pick off groups of enemies. A property that people don't seem to appreciate is that Night Comet pierces through its target. I've gotten some pretty nasty double kills, triple kills, and it's also really easy to clear out groups of enemies in PvE because the projectile just keeps going and dealing that massive amount of damage. The stats in this build are very straightforward. The optimal starting class for this build is Astrologer. We are trying to hit 80 intelligence as soon as possible to maximize our damage. That is the hard cap for spell damage. Next, we're going to get 60 vigor to be survivable. We're going to put a little bit into dexterity to have some access to utility weapons like daggers and shields. And then the rest can just go into mind so we can shoot off lots of spells. This build is spec'd for 138. So that we can invade level 125 characters and level 150 characters. This build is based around a specific interaction with the Staff of Loss, which is what boosts the night sorceries. For some reason that I don't understand, the only spells that it buffs are Night Shard and Night Comet, so those are the center of our build, but each Staff of Loss boosts our damage by a whopping 30%. So dual wielding these staves gives us a massive damage increase. So the rest of the build is about adding extra percentages on top of that to push even more damage through. On our Misericord, we are using the Golden Vow Ash of War. This is just allowing us to get some extra damage, and this really pushes it to that one shot in PvP. Again, it's just not a coop build if you don't have Misericord and Rickety, so I use Rickety as a spell parry for PvP and for PvE. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of fashion that helps boost these sorceries, so I just went for a really cool fashion. The fashion for this build is Black Hood, Blue-Silver Mail Armor, Blue-Silver Bracelets, and Black Knife Greaves. For our talismans, we have Graven School Talisman, Graven Mass Talisman, Magic Scorpion Charm, and Godfrey Icon. These are to maximize damage. If you want to avoid the negative penalties that come from Magic Scorpion Charm, I recommend Radigan's Icon. For our Flask of Onerous Physic, the only real essential part is the Magic Shroud and Crack tier. The other part can basically be swapped to whatever you like. I recommend something that's going to make you a little more survivable, like the Crimson Bubble tier, but you can basically customize the second part. A lot of people seem to like the Opaline Hard tier for the extra resistances as well, but basically pick your poison on that one. I'm going to try and do the fastest guide to getting these components that I can possibly do. Everything is going to be in this area of Celia, Town of Sorcery in Caelid. The easiest things to get are Night Comet and the Staff of Loss. Night Comet is in this chest in the center of town. All you need to do to get it is light all of the beacons and then it will become available. The Staff of Loss is simply sitting on a body on a balcony. This build requires 2 of these staves, so you're going to want to go to New Game Plus, but it's actually really easy to just run here quick and grab the staff. Night Shard is a little bit more complicated because we have to do Gowry's quest, although his quest is actually quite simple. We're going to start up at the Church of the Plague, exhaust Millicent's dialogue, then go down to talk to Gowry. This is my Skyrim-style horse route that I take just to save time, but you definitely can die, so I don't know, feel free, like maybe you want to do it and risk it. Exhaust Gowry's dialogue, and then run into the middle of the swamp area that I marked here. Fight Commander O'Neill. It's a great demonstration of how powerful this build is, by the way. Get the Unalloyed Gold Needle. Then return to Gowry, exhaust his dialogue. It's a lot easier to just quit out of the game when he asks you for some time with it. Then you receive the Unalloyed Golden Needle. Teleport back up to the Church of the Plague. Speak to Millicent, exhausting her dialogue. Rest to reset her, then talk to her while she's standing up. Then go down to Gowry one more time. And then Gowry will sell you the spell for 4,000 runes. For the actual play style of the build, it is very much a burst and stealth based build. I recommend using a suite of other spells like Carrion Slicer, Carrion Piercer, and the Hidden Body spell to kind of augment the spells that you're already using in Night Shard and Night Comet. This build is a lot like my Pyromancer build, where it really struggles in the 1v1, where a person can really focus and just really focus all their energy on dodging those high damage abilities. In these kinds of fights, you want to switch to Carrion Slicer and the Night Shard. Night Shard has a jumping attack, a rolling attack, so that makes you a lot more mobile. You can run around and use that. Night Shard, while not doing those one-shots, still does a lot of damage. And don't be afraid to switch to your dagger and shield as well. Go for some parries or things like that. But generally speaking, this build is going to want to kind of hide and strike from the shadows.
My guy's name is Death Slayer, by the way. Hey, Death Slayer, what do you think of this?
Okay, and that is the build. The other video, the Thorn Sorcery video, did really well for me, which is really cool. Thank you for that, and thank you for all of the new people who are subscribed here. If you guys like this stuff, consider hitting subscribe. Help me get monetized. I'm actually super close to getting monetized. I'm just under 1,000 subscribers right now, and very, very close to my amount of hours that I need watched. So yeah, thank you for all your support. I also stream consistently 5 days a week over on Twitch, and I'm streaming more often now on YouTube as well. So check those things out, and have a great one.